How to get employees to follow rules. Before you assume your employees are ignoring rules on purpose, listen to this. I've seen companies create more rules and get worse results. And here's why. The real reason employees don't follow rules is rarely what leadership thinks it is. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to increase compliance with company rules without increasing frustration or resistance. If you find yourself in a situation where you are giving your employees rules but they're not being followed, there can be different reasons for it. It might be that you have a cultural problem and you're not hiring the right people. But if you encounter this situation across the board, then there is probably a different reason for it. Ask yourself, are there rules that I'm giving my employees? Are they clear? Do they have a purpose behind it? Do they really understand why that rule came about? And I would suggest that you look at the rules that you are giving to your employees and see if you can find some of them, maybe all of them, that might not be so clear or might not have a specific purpose or might not discuss the purpose behind it. And then it makes it hard for your employees to follow that. I recorded another video, so make sure to subscribe to my channel and look for that video where I explained about how to make sure that your processes and procedures are completely clear before you jump into a conclusion that your employees just don't want to follow those procedures. The same thing applies to rules that you are giving your employees. You have to make sure that they are super clear. You have to make sure that the employees understand why they are doing what they're doing. They have to be in a context with the overall operations of the business. So if you do not have well-documented processes and procedures that explain the overall workflow and operation of the business, it will be hard to integrate those rules into that and make them understandable. So the first step is that there should be clarity of how things should be done. What are the workflows? How are we getting from point A to point B? How are we servicing our customers and our clients? What's the client journey? And in order to execute that client journey, what are the rules? In order to make sure that our employees are well taken care of, what are the safety rules, as an example? In order for us to make sure that the company is protected and continues to exist, we might have rules on how to utilize AI, for instance. Now, if those rules are not being followed, then again, ask yourself, did I clearly identify the reason why I gave that rule? So for instance, let's take the AI situation. So you have different rules on when to utilize AI, how to utilize AI, use a paid account, not paid account, you're not allowed to use your own, and you find people violating it. All right, so did you explain that the reason why you're doing it is in order to protect the company and ensure its longevity? Now, I would think that your employees would get behind it and would like to execute that. Perhaps you can explain that there were other situations that were non-optimum and created problems, and you want to make sure that those problems are not being created. All right, so that can be another explanation. So make sure that you have a purpose and a why behind the rules in order to get the people, when they read it, to feel like there is a reason behind it and they will get behind that execution. And as I mentioned in my other videos, at that point, you will probably have the majority of your people following those rules, but then you can pinpoint and identify specific people that you might have other problems with that are not willing to follow the rules, but you will be able to figure out what the root cause really is. Now, there is also the point of being consistent. So if you give somebody a rule, you have to make sure that you are consistent with that rule. So it isn't that day one you decide on rule A and then the next day it's rule B and rule A doesn't matter anymore. Because if you do that and keep changing, then you're not going to be taken seriously and those rules are not going to be followed. It doesn't mean that rules cannot be changed, because obviously if you came up with rule A on day one, but then you saw that it was not working, then of course you're going to make adjustments and change it and try and pilot the revision. But you have to also explain to your team why the change, so they will understand. So it it wasn't just some capricious change, but there was a reason behind it, and we want to improve things, and that's why we created the change. And of course, if you want people to follow the rules, you have to follow your own rules. You have to lead by example. You cannot be above the rules, or the rules do not apply to you, or one day you do one thing and another day you do another thing, because they look up to you. You are the role model. And also, by not following the rules yourself, you are giving them permission not to follow the rules. So make sure that you know why you are giving the rules, you're communicating it very clearly, you have consistency, and you follow it yourself and serve as a role model to your team. Again, in order for you to have good rules that are followed by everyone, you gotta have well-documented processes and procedures. And in the next video, I'm gonna show you how to create those so you will be able to get those followed by everyone. See you in the next video.